York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover
Good morning,
the
everyone.
comfort, style, and
On behalf
award-winning
of the
service.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority, I am delighted to welcome you to today's press conference. We sincerely value your time and ongoing support in amplifying the stories and developments that shape our dynamic tourism industry. Today's agenda has been thoughtfully updated to focus on two pivotal areas: tourism recovery efforts and the upcoming Independence and Miss SVG's activities. These subjects will not only highlight our nation's resilience, but also celebrate our rich cultural identity and progress. We're excited to share the latest updates with you. We will begin with our tourism recovery efforts, where our esteemed Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, and Culture will spearhead the discussion. This will be followed by official remarks from our CEO at the Tourism Authority, Annette Mark. Over the past year, our tourism industry has demonstrated remarkable resilience, with impressive statistics reflecting steady growth. Key points will include significant increases in international arrivals, a testament to the strength of our partnerships with leading airlines, new and refurbished accommodation, enhancing our tourism offerings and providing diverse options for travelers, and a detailed look at the strategic initiatives that have kept us on the path to recovery. Next, we will shift our focus to the upcoming independence celebrations and the highly anticipated 2024 Miss SVG pageant. These events represent the heartbeat of our nation's pride, and as we prepare to celebrate our history, culture, and achievements, we look forward to sharing the full program of activities planned for this year's Independence Month. This is not only a celebration of where we have come from, but also an opportunity to envision a brighter future together. We truly appreciate your presence here today. We would also like to acknowledge those media houses in attendance who are broadcasting this press conference live. Your coverage and commitment are invaluable as we work together to elevate St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the global stage. With that, let us dive into the details, starting with our tourism recovery efforts. Following the presentations, we'll open the floor for any questions you may have. A press kit with official releases on today's conference will also be emailed to you subsequently. Thank you. We now go over to our Minister.
Thank you, Carissa. Good morning to members of the media. Let me also acknowledge those who are here, the CEO of the Tourism Authority, Annette Mack, representing the Independence Committee, Mr. Ezra Roberts, other stakeholders from the Independence Committee, and of course, those who are viewing on various media platforms. Good morning to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are delighted to share with you some developments in tourism. Over the past few months, we have had some challenges, of course, stemming from the passage of Hurricane Beryl, in which no doubt had a devastating impact on our tourism product, particularly in the southern Grenadines, and in some instances on the mainland, and where we have had some challenging times for stakeholders within the sector. We will focus on what are some of the initiatives which we embarked on and we're currently embarking on as it relates to recovery. Immediately after the passage of Hurricane Beryl, the Ministry of Tourism, along with its associated agencies, the Tourism Authority, National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, we immediately went into the Southern Grenadines for a comprehensive assessment of the damage, not just on Canawan, Myro, Petite St. Vincent, Palm Island, and Union Island, but also there were several assessments on mainland St. Vincent. And what a lot of people might not have been aware of is that our botanic gardens, the oldest in the Western Hemisphere, was also severely impacted from the passage of Hurricane Beryl. And we were ably assisted by a team from the Caribbean Tourism Organization. A team of two, a consultant team of two came in, immediately dispatched, working along with SEDEMA to do a rapid assessment of what our immediate needs are within the sector. And currently, we are working along with various stakeholders within the government, particularly the Ministry of Housing, the Ministry of Grenadines Affairs, Urban Development and Grenadines Affairs, and working with the stakeholders to see how we can get our stakeholders up and running in time for the upcoming cruise season in particular, our tourism season, which kicks off in November. We have seen some improvements, and in fact, so far we have done assessments on a number of hotels and apartments in the southern Grenadines, those that were affected. We have had consultations, several consultations on Palm Island, Myro, Union Island, even as far as Beckway in the north in the Grenadines. We've gone in to have consultations with stakeholders in relation to the impact and the devastation from Beryl. And we're working with all of these various stakeholders to ensure that we provide the support that is needed and necessary in assisting in the recovery efforts. This week, I know there are some discussions with the technical team within the Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Housing. They will be facilitating how best we can roll out a series of support to the stakeholders in terms of the reconstruction and recovery. And so far, from the account I've received, they have already started some of that recovery. We've seen on Myro, in particular, which there is a tourism facility there, which is privately owned and operated. They have started some recovery work in relation to the recovery from Hurricane Beryl. So by and large, we're seeing the sheer resilience of our Vincentian people, but more so our tourism stakeholders who have invested their time, their resources, and their efforts in building out what we have as one of the more pristine tourism development and tourism product in the Caribbean region. Prior to Hurricane Beryl, it must be noted that we've had some important engagements on the road. One of those engagements was a travel leaders summit, which we had with over 2,000 travel advisors in Washington, D.C. This event, which I think was the first time they were having a Minister of Tourism, and in particular Minister of Tourism from the Caribbean region, addressing over 2,000 travel advisors at this convention. And by and large, a lot of the travel advisors who were present at that Travel Leaders Network Summit were in fact primarily responsible for a significant portion of revenues coming to tourism from the source market within North America, Canada, and the US. Many of them were familiarizing themselves with brands in Vincent and the Grenadines, destinations in Vincent and the Grenadines. And in fact, from that Travel Leaders Summit, we were able to feature in one of the magazines of the Travel Leaders Network with a global reach of over 2 million people in terms of readers and so on. And these are the type of work that are really going into the marketing of our destination, which many persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines may not know of, they may not see it, because it is work that is done outside of the destination and connecting with travel advisors who are primarily a key part of selling the destination and booking rooms and seats on airlines to the destination is a critical part of that exercise. So that is one of the hallmarks, I think, of this year's work that we've put in relation to the tourism, selling our tourism destination across the source markets globally. Recently, we participated in the Caribbean Tourism Organization's annual ministerial summit, of course, of Caribbean Ministers of Tourism. It's where we have the State of the Tourism Industry Conference, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines was elected unopposed as vice chair of the Caribbean Tourism Organization's board, one of two English-speaking Caribbean countries elected. And of course, that speaks to our leadership administratively within the region and where we are moving in terms of, even at a ministerial level, and positioning ourselves as one of the rapidly emerging tourism destinations. Coming out of the CTO's meeting, we also will serve on the Constitutional Reform Committee of the CTO. And quite frankly, as Minister of Tourism, I've been one of the ministers regionally advocating for some changes in which the CTO operates, whether it's fit for purpose and some of the additional support that we can provide to member states and who are part of the CTO's framework. And of course, we were voted on to serve on a committee to facilitate the restructuring and the constitutional changes which we'll see coming to the CTO in a few months' time. Our election to the CTO board comes at the right time as we are also ramping up our regional marketing. You first and foremost can't do that without intra-regional travel. And we have had some challenges here locally and within the Southern Caribbean with connecting visitors to small island states like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, because we have had some challenges with Liat and Inter-Caribbean and so on. We have seen Inter-Caribbean has since ramped up their fleet. Liat is now back with 2 aircrafts, and they're looking to add more equipment to their fleet. So we're hoping that our entry at the CTO level on its board and the role that we intend to play regionally within tourism, we will see a lot more activity in terms of our marketing and a lot more traffic coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines from the region. We have had some changes in senior positions within the Tourism Authority. And of course, Annette Mack, who's here, no stranger to us, has been appointed the CEO of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority, and I want to formally congratulate her on her appointment. Of course, she brings a wealth of experience, having served in several senior roles here locally and regionally. And you're seeing some new faces as well. Carissa Taylor, who has joined the staff at the Tourism Authority as well, and a senior marketing officer, who will be giving a lot of support to our directors of sales in our source markets, and of course, will play an important role in our regional marketing, in which we're going to ramp up a lot of. And of course, in 2025, where we look to move into the Latin market, Latin America and the Caribbean, we'll have a lot of focus on how we can attract more visitors from the Latin market. So we are really broadening the scope of where our niche traditionally would be the North American, European markets. But of course, we have to, with additional flights to St. Vincent and the Grenadines from the regional airlines, as well as more flights on the horizon from Latin America and other source markets, we have to ramp up our marketing within those particular areas. Very soon, we will see the process to recruit a new CEO of the Carnival Development Corporation, as our emphasis now shifts on festival tourism. Of course, we have heard some of the concerns from stakeholders within the Carnival Development Corporation, but we have also seen good work from the CDC. And we intend to focus heavily on festival tourism and really put in a lot more resources in marketing our premier festival, Vincimas. And this responsibility, as I've said before, this briefing, this responsibility will now rest with the Tourism Authority. Any marketing of the destination as it relates to festivals or sports tourism, which we also looking to embark on ramping up our marketing in relation to that as well, will be the responsibility of the Tourism Authority, with support, of course, from the Ministry of Sports for Sports Tourism and from the Carnival Development Corporation as it relates to festival tourism. In a few weeks, we will benefit from some training opportunities for staff within the ministry, the Tourism Authority and the ministry. I am happy to inform that in a few weeks we'll have on staff an economist seconded from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, who is also a data analyst and who has had a number of years' experience as a leading researcher within the research unit of the ECCV. We'll be here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to spend a little bit of time with us here on the ground, but also remotely in a consultancy capacity to assess what we're doing as a tourism authority in terms of our numbers, our reach. Are we hitting the right target audiences? Are we putting our resources where we need to? And a scientific approach to how we market the destination is going to be critically examined. And of course, working along with the staff within the research unit of the Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism, we intend to see how best we can strategically position ourselves to spend the limited resources that we have wisely and correctly within the source markets in which we traditionally will put our resources. So I'm happy that some of these additional advancements and resources are being added, both human resource and financial resource, to the Tourism Authority to see how best we can ramp up in relation to our assessment first and qualitatively, and then of course how we can move into spending a lot more resources within our source markets in a very targeted and scientific way. I want to touch briefly on some tourism numbers, and we've been so busy over the last few months, not just with the recovery, but spending a lot of time on the road, marketing the destination and working collaboratively with our partners, that we oftentimes we do look at the results, but we oftentimes don't share the results with the media. And on this occasion, I'm happy to share with the media that year on year, in comparison to 2023, within the first 6 months of 2024, our stayover numbers grew by some 30%. This is something that is really the Tourism Authority, the research unit, the staff is looking at the numbers, and what we are seeing is just over 11 to 12,000 more people coming to the destination within the first 6 months of the year in comparison to last year's numbers. And it shows that there's some significant growth, and the potential is there to even expand a bit more in our growth as a tourism destination. If you were to look at the comparative data pre-COVID, and I'm taking you back to 2019, which we consider our benchmark year, to track our recovery post-COVID and now post-Beryl, we are up 20% in stayover arrivals for the first 6 months of the year. And this is in comparison to where we were before COVID. So we're up 20% above our COVID numbers, and we are up 30% above our numbers from last year's performance in terms of stayover arrivals for the first 6 months of the year. We have seen, however, a slight drop in yachting by 1.7%, and I do expect and anticipate a further decline due to some cancellations post-Beryl. However, we do intend to ramp up our marketing and support to our partners within the yachting sector. And of course, in a few weeks, we are hoping to dispatch a team to Martinique, where a lot of the charter companies are coming from. And very early after the devastation of Beryl, I got phone calls from the companies out of Martinique that there are cancellations. Persons were wondering, whether or not how severely damaged and impacted the Grenadines were in particular, and St. Vincent generally. And our message is that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're open for business. The recovery is taking shape. We are resilient people. The tourism sector is one that has proven to be resilient, in particular our yachting sector. And we want to spend a lot of time and resources there to move in the direction of working with our stakeholders and our partners within the yachting sector to really inform persons who would normally come to the destination, that yachting we're open for business and we want to welcome you to our shows. So though we're seeing a slight decline by 1.7% in yachting, I think the takeaway is that we are looking at a more favorable tourism season, at least for the first 6 months of the year, this year, in comparison to last year and in comparison to our pre-COVID numbers. For July, despite the passage of Hurricane Beryl, our numbers actually held, recording some 8,284 passengers to the destinations. I must warn you that these numbers are provisional. They're still being computed by the Research and Information Unit, as well as compiling these numbers from the Immigration and Customs. But from all indications, despite a few cancellations and change of events during the Carnival season, our numbers actually, in fact, held during the July. And one of the biggest fears were whether or not we're going to have a Carnival and whether the impact of Hurricane Beryl is going to affect the numbers. So it's good for us to report that July is looking favorable. The numbers, in fact, held, and I'm hoping next year we can outdo the numbers we've had this year on record. The provisional numbers I'm seeing here, I want us to move in the direction to improve on those numbers. And of course, we'll be paying particular attention to that with the announcements of a few new airlines to the destination, which is going to bring more people and more traffic to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Total visitor arrivals continue to rebound and reaching pre-pandemic levels, and this is supported by a surge in cruise visitors and an increase in stayover arrivals, as I indicated earlier. Last year, we recorded just under 400,000, 394,000 passengers, just shy of our 2019 arrival numbers of 404,000. While our cruise passengers numbers last year surpassed our pre-COVID 2019 numbers, we recorded some 264,000 plus passengers last year via cruise, passing the 255 plus thousand passenger numbers of 2019, which was our benchmark pre-COVID year in terms of performance and growth. So we are seeing an uptick in tourism, both in the cruise sector. We have seen a full recovery somewhat in our yachting, and we're also seeing an uptick, a significant uptick in our stayover arrivals, up 30% year on year and up 20% in comparison to our pre-pandemic numbers. This is no doubt showing that our Q1 and Q2 numbers for stayover is perhaps the largest we've seen in quite a few years, and a significant amount of work has gone into marketing and reshaping and rebranding the destination from our directors of sales in our source markets. Very often we don't talk about the directors of sales who are stationed in London, Toronto, and New York. They do a lot of really good work in pushing the boundaries and really creating the opportunities where we are seeing visitor arrival numbers increasing, and in partnership with a number of other stakeholders like Sandals and Young Island and Beachcombers and all of the other hotels, Palm Island and PSV. They have really been ramping up their efforts, their marketing efforts on the global stage. And I'm really happy, and I'm commending our stakeholders and also our directors of sales for the tremendous work that they have been doing over the past few years. We have approaching a cruise season, the 2024-2025 cruise season, and I am happy to report to the media that for the third consecutive year, we are expecting a record year in cruise calls to the destination. This is the third year we have seen consecutive growth in our cruise calls. Though the numbers are provisional, and despite the passage of Hurricane Beryl, and I'm hoping that the numbers will hold, because these are provisional numbers for bookings to come. And I am hoping that with the robust efforts with our recovery, these cruise lines, and we've been in touch with them and in dialogue continuously, as well as their agents, to let them know St. Vincent and the Grenadines is open for business. And I'm hoping the numbers will hold. We are expecting a total of 378 calls to the destination, 9 of which are inaugural calls, and representing a projected visitor arrival of 317,115 passengers by cruise within the 2024-2025 cruise season. The first call will be on Myro, and I'm really happy to see that in some cases, we're seeing an increase by some 50% in calls to the Southern Grenadines, some of the islands. For instance, Carnival is now going into double digits. Myro, the first call will take place on October the 21st. The first call to Port Kingston is on Wednesday, November the 6th. For those taxi operators who are more keen on seeing the larger ships to the destination. There has been significant growth and interest in calls to, as I said, Carnival, and also, as well as Union Island, and our recovery efforts must be robust to facilitate the growing interest within the Southern Grenadines. Last year, we recorded 376 calls for the 2023-2024 season, and 311 calls in the 2022-2023 season. So naturally, despite Hurricane Beryl, our cruise numbers, they have held, they're consistent, and it's a record performance in terms of cruise calls to the destination. Calls to Kingston would be 110 this season. Beckway also goes into triple digits, 104. Union Island will see 45, Myro 55, Tobago Keys will see 50, and Carnival will see 14 calls. Interestingly, last year, Carnival had 5 calls. It's not really a port in which we see a lot of cruise calls, but this year they're now into double digits. And again, I want to commend the hard-working staff at the Ministry of Tourism, the Tourism Authority, the Port Authority in particular, and the stakeholders, the cruise agents, who have been working relentlessly, hitting the pavement at many of these cruise conventions and summits to ensure that our partnership with the cruise lines and with the FCCA, the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, in which we are now officially a platinum member as of this year. We've become signed on as a platinum member St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this augurs well for the development of our cruise sector. And what is interesting is we're seeing 3 consecutive years of growth within cruise, with a cruise port that has a limited capacity that can only berth in Kingston 2 ships, 2 decent ships at a given time. I am very keen on the completion of the cargo port in Kingston, that will have enough room, as I indicated earlier, and as we have, as a government has indicated. We are going to expand the cruise terminal in Kingston to facilitate a lot more berthing, but also creating a lot more space and acreage for the development of shops and duty-free stalls, and an area where we're going to build out a center for the performing arts. And of course, all of these attractions and for the creative economy, and of course the tourism sector, is going to benefit tremendously our stakeholders and persons who are involved within tourism and culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I'm eagerly anticipating the day when we break ground on this new cruise terminal. And of course, these numbers, I'm sure any investor who's coming in and looking at what the numbers are and the potential that is there to even maximize our growth in cruise tourism is there. With a limited capacity in which we're accommodating and berthing ships now, we're into our 3rd consecutive year of growth within the cruise sector. To touch briefly on the airlines, in a few weeks we will see some heightened activity regarding airlines to the destination. We are welcoming not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 new airlines to destinations in Vincent and the Grenadines within a space of 2 months. Additional flights also will be added to existing carriers to the destination. But I want to start with the announcement first of Yearr on October 4th. Yearr 20. Yearr 2020 Limited will see its first flight to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and from there on, we'll see 5 flights weekly to the destination. October 9th, we welcome JetBlue from New York with a twice weekly flight on Wednesdays and Sundays. JetBlue is a low-cost carrier airline, and no doubt is one of the more impactful air carriers within the North American market in terms of moving people. And the diaspora community, they have been in touch and are quite excited with the announcement of JetBlue. We are also thrilled with JetBlue coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines on October 9th. And Mark, who's here, will speak a bit more about that in a bit more details. But what the emergence of JetBlue does to our market, it is in fact going to provide competition and lower airfares for existing air carriers to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's no secret that coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you look at the price of air freight, both for cargo, and you look at the price of tickets for travelers. And we have to see how we can have more affordable flights to the destination. And no doubt with JetBlue's entry into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, this is certainly going to shake the needle a little bit down to accommodating a lot more affordable tickets to the destination, which is going to translate into more people being able to afford tickets to the country, more people coming home from the diaspora, and of course more bookings for hotels and other related services on island. At our recent CTO meeting, we have sold St. Vincent and the Grenadines so well as a premier ultra luxury niche market that most persons who were in the room, the media, the stakeholders and the media from the CTO, they said, well, are there affordable hotels to stay on St. Vincent and the Grenadines? We know of Mustique and Mandarin Oriental and Soho and now Sandals. But what about are they affordable? And I said, look, with JetBlue now attracting another niche of travelers who were able to, low-budget travelers, who were able to book a ticket for $100 or $200 US to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There is already a pool of existing hotels, Airbnbs, but also traditional hotels, cottage industry operators, and what I would call them niche operators in St. Vincent and the Grenadines within the hotel sector. That is accommodating to persons who are coming here who may not necessarily have the budget for a Sandals or a Mustique or a Soho or a Palm Island. There's Beachcombers, there's La View, there's Paradise, there's Maya Suites, and the list goes on. I don't want to start naming everybody and leaving some out. And we've seen expansions at a few of the facilities here on mainland St. Vincent as well. So we do in fact expect a lot more people to come to the destination as it relates to that. To conclude on the point regarding the additional airlines, October the 28th is the tentative date for Sunrise Airways. They will also operate weekly service to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we're also looking at November 15th. Win Air comes to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to commence operations twice weekly, Tuesdays and Saturdays, from St. Lucia and St. Martin. Again, tapping into the Northern Caribbean and providing an opportunity for us to tap into a niche of visitors who may not necessarily come south to the Southern Caribbean. American Airlines will move to non-stop daily flights from Miami and weekly flights from Charlotte and also JFK in New York come this winter. Caribbean Airlines will continue their weekly service, twice weekly service out of New York. Virgin Atlantic, 3 times weekly from London. And of course, Air Canada at the end of October will commence their winter season, starting with twice weekly from Pearson in Toronto. And I'm hoping as the numbers ramp up, they may add an additional 1 or 2 flights to that scheduling. But they're starting very early this season, winter season, out of Toronto with twice weekly. JetBlue had initially planned their entry into St. Vincent later, early in the winter season, We're talking December period. But we've worked collaboratively with them and said, listen, we want you to come earlier. October is our independence. We're expecting a lot of Vincentians to book to come home. In fact, as we speak, we have started ramping up our marketing to attract more people to the island, even in October. And they have given us the assurance that October the 9th is in fact the date in which they will have that inaugural flight to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to just briefly mention in relation to our hotels, and I continue to make this point, we simply do not have enough rooms on island that I would like to see. We're adding an additional 1,200 rooms to our existing room stock. We've already started. There's La View, added 19 rooms. Sandals, they've added 301 rooms. And we're building more hotels, expanding our existing room stock capacity. And of course, we're hoping at some point before Q1 of 2025 to break ground on the Marriott. We have to move ahead on that project, and we're anticipating. I would have loved to see us starting this project, and we're still hoping they're completing some final touches to those arrangements in terms of designs and so on. But we're, give or take, we're hoping by Q1 we should really be in the ground in terms of breaking ground in relation to the Marriott Hotel. And I want to see us aggressively next year starting the construction of that to ramp up our room stock on island. Holiday Inn Express and Suites, it's not just an Holiday Inn Express. If you have stayed at any of the other Holiday Inn Expresses, you would have noted that some of them don't have pools. The amenities on offer, the quality that we've put in branding that Holiday Inn Express to bring it up to the level of close enough to our ultra luxury brands which we have on island, is one that even the operators of Holiday Inn are commending St. Vincent and the Grenadines for. And we are hoping November to officially open Holiday Inn Express to accommodate visitors to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to also add to, again, the existing room stock. So cumulatively, when you look at all of the existing hotels under construction, the ones which we're about to break ground on, what we've opened, we are somewhere in the ballpark of a total of 1,200 rooms being added to the destination, which I in fact had predicted that we will do over a period of 2 to 3 years. And we're still, despite the many challenges of a volcanic eruption, COVID, as well as Hurricane Beryl, we're still, in fact, ahead of schedule in getting these numbers in relation to our room stock. There are several initiatives in relation to tourism that we intend to roll out in a few weeks, and Annette will speak a bit more about some of these initiatives, but we want to relaunch our destination wedding campaign. St. Vincent and the Grenadines was known as a premier wedding destination. Anywhere in the world you go, you hear about Caribbean weddings. St. Vincent and the Grenadines we were in the top 5. What we saw was a lot of the other destinations pretty much moving in the direction where we were. And because of the ease of travel to those destinations, one, the challenges of remoteness, primarily for Palm Island, PSV, Mustique, where we had most of those destination weddings taking place. To get married on Palm Island means you have to fly in from North Carolina or Charlotte, wherever you're coming from, get to the destination, then unpack, pack a second bag to head to St. Vincent, because you have to make an appointment to go and see the registrar for a same-day wedding. Then you have to take that document which you pay for at the registrar's office, and you have to take that to the Attorney General's chambers for a signature from the Attorney and a stamp from the Attorney General. Then you have to lodge that document. And before you know it, getting wedding was one of the most tedious tasks for a visitor to come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, despite our pristine beauty, despite the luxury that we afford to visitors, and despite having the perfect destination for a wedding or a honeymoon. it was simply just challenging. And what we've done is we've gone ahead to assess how we can make it a bit more accessible for persons who are coming here for destination weddings. And we started by decentralizing some of these services. The very document that you need to pick up at the registrar and then take to the Attorney General's chambers can now be processed on Union Island at the Revenue Office, at Canawan and Beckway, and as well as Mustique. But we've taken it even a bit further. We said, well, if you're on Palm Island or PSV, or you're on an all-inclusive resort and you simply just don't want to leave the resort, why do I have to take a boat and go to Union Island or Canawan to pick up a document and get a stamp? So we simply made arrangements to move all of those the processes remotely. So any visitor to the destination can stay in an apartment or a house in London, or driving in a taxi to the airport, or in Las Vegas or New York, for that matter. Go onto a website from their phone, their mobile device or tablet, simply log in to our gov.vc site, and where there's a special page available and accessible for persons to now access this information remotely, register for a destination wedding to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and pay for those services remotely via the World Wide Web. Get to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. By the time they get here, that information is processed. The only place they have to leave from their hotel rooms is to the wedding chapel on the beach, or if it's an all-inclusive, within the confines of the all-inclusive. So we have completely removed the process of going to a registrar or an Attorney General's chambers for a signature or a stamp, and we've completely removed, in some cases, going to a revenue office in the Grenadines. This is now accessible remotely. The payment process can take place remotely. In fact, it's one of the very first government services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines where you can actually pay for a government service online. They're now eventually moving into that stage, and I want to commend the team at the ITSD for working with us within the Ministry of Tourism and Legal Affairs, as well as the Tourism Authority for facilitating this initiative. But it is now so comfortable and easier for visitors, and I've had the reviews coming in. It is now easy for me to get married in St. Vincent. I want to come back to honeymoon, and people are now very much keen and interested in coming to the destination for weddings. So that is something which we have really worked out the kinks of it. We have not yet launched that program, primarily because we wanted to ensure that it is working when we launch it. We have had quite a few weddings to date from the very same process, the application process, so it is working. And we are now ready to roll out to our global source markets. We intend in the coming year to reward our travel advisors. Many of you may not realize how important travel advisors are to remote destinations like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially since COVID. Before the dot-com boom, they existed. They are not dinosaurs. They existed, and people relied on travel agents and travel advisors to book destination vacations for them. And it became a lot easier to log into Expedia, log into one of the existing airlines and book a flight direct. What we have seen in COVID was the level of security. You're trapped in an island. You don't know how to get home. You don't have someone to call, though that it's a misconception, but we have seen, and this is firsthand from visitors, they want to feel when they get to an island, in the event of a pandemic or there's a global threat somewhere that is affecting them getting back to their homes, they want to be able to pick up the phone and call one person who is able to work relentlessly getting them back to their destinations. So we have seen from the pandemic a lot more activity is now moving back to travel agents and travel advisors in terms of bookings. We have seen a lot more. In fact, when I was at the Travel Leaders Network Summit in DC, there was one company, and their revenue last year was $20 million in bringing persons to destinations across the world. 20 million. That's how big and impactful travel advisors are within the destination markets. And we intend to launch what we call the Diamond Awards for travel advisors starting next year. And why Diamond? Because there are many Star Awards and Gold Awards, but the 3 diamonds in the flag represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the Diamond Award is going to be reserved for our biggest travel advisors who are able to book hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of revenue, bringing people to our destination. And we're going to reserve that for them. And we intend to launch that initiative in the coming months as well. I want to announce that we intend to have, from next year, we'll start by announcing a global ambassador for Vincimas. We'll put measures in place to have one person identified, at least one person provisionally, to promote Vincimas in a big way. And when I say promote, everywhere that person goes, the message is going. And we'll speak a bit more about that. But also, next year, early next year, we'll have the world's most challenging 10K run here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And these are some of the initiatives we're going to look at in terms of drawing a lot more persons to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in various particular niches, in sports, in promoting festivals. We already have the Crown as the premier luxury resort destination or brand for the Caribbean. But also, of course, we now have to ramp up our room stock to attract more visitors to our islands. And we're seeing the uptick in our numbers. And that is also showing the significant growth which we have seen in Stayover arrivals to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These are just a few snapshots of some developments that are taking place within the tourism space. Not very often we come to the media because we're sometimes our agents are not here. They're on the ground in the source markets working and putting in place the necessary support to getting people to the destination. But I am happy to announce here that we are seeing some growth, significant growth in Stayover arrivals. Of course, that's accredited to a number of airlines that are now coming to the destination. I'm happy to announce that our numbers for cruise, they have held. We're now in our 3rd consecutive year of growth in terms of cruise calls. Also, our yachting have held despite the challenges of the Hurricane Beryl and the volcano. We've now rebounded from that and from the pandemic. And though dipping slightly this year, but our numbers have held in terms of yachting. So overall, we're seeing growth within our tourism product. And if you ask me if there's potential for us to grow even more, the answer is going to be yes. But for us to really impact on our revenue in which we want to see, our revenue last year grew by somewhat 500 million in terms of tourism expenditure to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think that we have an economist in the room, but I think we have not received or recorded such growth in a very long while in tourism within St. Vincent in terms of our total expenditure from our tourism industry. So while we're seeing growth, we're also seeing the expansion of our revenue expenditure for tourism. And I want to say, for us to even grow the economy and the industry even in a larger scale, what we need to have are a lot more hotel rooms. I want Vincentians to especially appreciate and understand, even if you're adding a 50 room or 20 or 30 room hotel or apartment, we have concessions available for you. There's this misconception that only investors are getting duty-free concession on hotel. Every single hotel that you've seen built in St. Vincent, whether it's an Airbnb, whether it's an apartment, a 5-room apartment, a 10-room apartment, a 20-room hotel, every single one of them, they have received concessions. And if they haven't, it's because they didn't apply. And it's available and accessible to every citizen who are coming into the tourism space, including our taxi operators. This time last year, I said to our taxi operators, I'm going to allow and facilitate duty-free concessions for brand new vehicles. We now have concessions for vehicles up to 6 years once you're coming into the port and the vehicle is 6 years old. You get concessions on those. You have to sign up to the tourism authority, go through the necessary training, and we are facilitating concessions, particularly 100% duty-free concession on brand new vehicles for the tourism sector. So we're supporting our stakeholders. We want to see a lot more yachts on our waters, because marine tours is a big deal for the cruise ships as well, and also for persons who are stayovers. We're seeing and accommodating a few of the tour operators, but we want to see a lot more persons applying to purchase catamarans, because these tours are a big deal. We're a multi-island state. Getting from one location to the next requires also marine transportation, and concessions also available for persons who are investing within that marine sector. So by and large, we are seeing significant growth within our tourism. We expect to see this year will hold. I am hoping that Hurricane Beryl doesn't impact the third and fourth quarters of the year in terms of our tourism numbers. I'm hoping that our resilience will hold our numbers through, and I'm expecting to see a lot more activity and growth within our tourism product as we welcome the opening of a new cruise season. I want to end by saying I'm hoping the day will come when we don't talk about an off-season and on-season for tourism. We're pushing very hard to have year-round tourism here, and because we have now year-round air service to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there's absolutely no reason why hotels should be closed during the summer. There's absolutely no reason why we should have down periods and laying off workers. We want to see hotels ramp up. We want to see our rooms filled, and for us to do that, we have to drive our sector. We have to support our stakeholders, and we have been doing such. And I want to commend all of the stakeholders and the representatives from the Ministry of Tourism, the Tourism Authority, National Parks, and our directors of tourism who have continued to do good work in relation to our tourism sector. Just to conclude by saying that we have provided some $1.5 million in the supplementary estimates to deal with the improvements to tourism sites in our recovery efforts. Some of the sites will be ready by the start of the cruise season. Some of the sites will see existing and continued work, and I'm hoping that we can have a very robust agenda in terms of getting the sites up and ready to facilitate the hundreds of thousands of visitors coming to our shows this season. I want to just end here and welcome the new CEO of the Tourism Authority to the podium to just give a few insights in terms of the work that the Tourism Authority is doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, for your remarks, and I do acknowledge the presence of the Minister and Mr. Esbert Roberts and Avia Charles, who will be following on with comments after my presentation. Minister, I want to just say to you, thank you for that presentation and for actually assisting me in your presentation with your remarks, because you've done half of my work. Thank you. So following on from what the minister has said, I would just like to make a couple of points. And one in particular is that of the arrival of our new airlines next month. We are excited. And of course, you know, we could not have enough airlift coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. However, as the minister said, we do have 4 airlines, and one of the bigger airlines that is coming would be JetBlue. We will be collaborating with JetBlue in a number of promotional events, and one of them, which I will be remiss not to speak about, is the Sip into the Blue promotion, which we will be collaborating also with the brewery. So it's simply, there will be limited bottles that will have blue labels. You will purchase them at our bars and restaurants, and once you scan the QR code, you have a chance to win 2 round tickets. Well, actually it's 1, but I'm now throwing in the extra one. 2 round tickets to or from St. Vincent on JetBlue. To or from St. Vincent, New York, JetBlue. So please look out for the further details that we will give on the day of the arrival of JetBlue. Okay, so we are the authority is looking to refocus its efforts, and we want to be as targeted as we can be. And as a result of that, our marketing will be ramped up, and the minister spoke a little bit about this. We will be mainly focusing on digital marketing. This is to make us competitive, and of course, this is to make us competitive. One second, I just lost my chain of thoughts there. And to ensure that we fill our seats and that we know that where we need to focus our efforts. And as a result, within the authority, the marketing department, the information and research departments will be merged. And of course, you heard already that Carissa, who is well experienced in marketing within the region, will be joining our department. We also want to make sure that we extend our on-off tourism season. And this is with the number of hotels that have opened, there's no reason why we cannot do this. We have an international airport, and now we have many other flights that are coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We will launch this digital marketing campaign in due course. While we focus on our digital campaign, this will allow us, of course, to, as I said, make our destination competitive. We will be able to provide greater reach with the digital campaign. And of course, we'll be able to monitor our results and of course, be able, as I said, target our marketing. We will also be strengthening the research and marketing department. I'm now reading my speech, as you would realize. And with new staff and the collaboration, with the joining of both units, they will report to one head. We will also add what is called a visitor experience unit to our portfolio. This will allow us to be able to be in touch with our visitors as they are on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When they arrive, of course, it's going to be a mobile app, and we will be able in real time to find out and to know what they are experiencing from each touch point from arrival to departure. And we will give further details in respect to this mobile app as we roll it out. And we expect that this would start hopefully in the first quarter of next year. One of the things that we are definitely focusing on and we are strengthening is our stakeholder collaboration. And this is with both the private sector and the public sector. With the private sector in respect to events and our festivals that we we promote in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, these will include 9 mornings, our Carnival, which the minister has spoken that the Tourism Authority will be responsible for all of the marketing for Carnival, and we look forward to working with the Carnival Committee in respect to marketing our Carnival next year. We do work very closely with the marketing committee. With the Carnival Committee, we sit on the board, and moving forward, we will ensure that our senior marketing officer is part of this board to assist the Carnival Committee. There are a number of events that are upcoming, and the minister would have spoken to you about the Sandals Foundation Charity Run, and I will come back to that in a moment. And for the rest of the year, we will be working with the Football Association in respect to the matches that are coming up. The Masters Cricket Tournament later in October, we have already supported this event, and we will be supporting it. We'll be promoting it, and also we hope that this is an event that we will be able to grow. Now, the reason we are focusing on events is that we do need as much as possible, and I can't stress it enough, that we do need as much as possible to fill our planes, that our airlines, the seats of our airlines that are coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we need as much as possible to grow our stayover numbers. We are looking good so far, but we need to keep this up, and we need to ensure that we keep on an upward trajectory. So you will hear me again probably say this before I'm finished. And of course, we will work along with the Cricket Association and Cricket West Indies in respect to the cricket, to the tournament that is taking place later in December when South Africa tours St. Vincent. Of course, one of our major projects we're working on right now is the Love Boutique Miss SVG 2024. We're working very closely with Avia Charles and the Queen's Committee, and we have given a great deal of support. And out of this, we do expect to ensure that there's a lot of material, a lot of content that we will be able to promote St. Vincent and the Grenadines from, with the arrival of Miss Kadeen Ellis. I said that correctly, right? Miss Kadeen Ellis, who will be co-hosting the show. I just want to speak a little bit about the Sandals Foundation Charity Run, which takes place from the 11th of October to the 14th of October. It begins on our sister island, Beckway, with a 15K run, and it will end with a community event to be hosted by the Ministry of Tourism. On the 12th, there will be a West Coast run, which starts from Sandals and ends in Walidaboo Bay, and then the participants will kayak back to Sandals. On the 13th, the run will start at the Diamond Industrial Estate and will end at Sandals, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And on the 14th, after 3 exhausting days of activities, the participants get the opportunity to hike the Lasso Fair Trail. The objective is to raise US $100,000, and the Sanders Foundation has already committed to donating this amount. It will go to the pediatric ward at the hospital and assist persons in the Southern Grenadines who have been affected by beryl. Now, events like these allow us to show off our beautiful landscape, meet our local community groups, and the visitors, of course, get to experience our warm hospitality and network with our local communities. Promoting this, of course, promotes both sports and community tourism. To further build on this, as the minister mentioned earlier, in the first quarter of next year, we do plan to have our first endurance marathon. So we ask that you get fit and ready for this marathon. Before I go on, I should just go back to the Sandals Foundation charity run. While the run is concentrated mainly on 40 participants, which is, I think, 20 persons or 15 persons from the UK, 15 international runners from the UK. They will have buddy runners who are locals from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And of course, we do encourage everyone to come out and support the runners, and persons can participate otherwise in the run, but it is mainly focused on the 40 runners. Now, again, you would have heard me say that our main focus is to fill our seats, grow our stayover visitors. And one of the ways, besides promoting our events and growing them, is also that we were very encouraged by what happened this year with CELAC, the Rotary Conference, and the hosting of the T20 cricket. You know, I've heard sometimes people say, oh, we don't have the hotels, you don't have the conference room, you don't this, you don't that, whatever. But CELAC, Rotary Conference, and the World Cup cricket proved that, yes, we can do it. So as a result of that, we will be promoting MICE. So meetings, incentives, conference, and exhibitions. That is one of the areas where you do not need a season to have people come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It can happen all year round. And we will be promoting this promoting MICE, promoting St. Vincent as a MICE destination on the road. And we will be working with our hotels, our stakeholders, and also our conference events facilities to ensure that we are able to properly promote St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As I said, we're working with our hotels. Sandals St. Vincent opened its doors in March 2024, Myers last year, and in November we'll see the opening of the Holiday Inn and Suites. Adding to our already existing stock couldn't come fast enough, and we are so looking forward to seeing these numbers of our room stock grow. We do have a plan to reach out to a number of hotels, work along with them, as in our small boutique hotels, to ensure that, or to encourage them to please increase your room stock, 5, 10 rooms, little by little, one full basket. So please, we will be reaching out to our boutique hotels who have been there right through for us and our tourism product. Part of our focus again, there's a number of areas, but I'm just singling out a few, is working along with, as I said earlier, stakeholder engagement with the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Port Authority in respect to attracting new cruise lines to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, National Parks and Beach, Parks, Rivers and Beach, and the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Hotel Tourism Authority. So, for example, we have already started engaging National Parks, Rivers and Beaches in respect to the enhancement and the branding of our current sites. We are also engaging them in respect to new sites and the development of new attractions for next year, for the new cruise season, and of course for our fellow Vincentians and other persons to enjoy. We have some lovely sites as it is right now. However, we always add into our portfolio, always add into our product, and always enhancing our product. We at the Tourism Authority will be working along with our stakeholders. We'll also be collaborating with the Ministry of Mobilization for the opening of a craft market. I've heard it over and over and over and over. Where's the craft market? I've been asked several times, where's your craft market? Where's your craft market? And my answer is always, and I remember having this discussion with somebody, asking me, where's your craft market? And I said, you mean the market? And the person was like, no, your craft market. And I was like, no, you mean the market, right? And this is before, of course, I'm using this hat. And because I knew what they were asking me, but I was trying to kind of deflect. No, you mean the market. Trying to deflect them and said to them, but in the market, you might find some craft. But here it is now that we've actually found a home for our craft market. And we have had stakeholder meeting already with the craft vendors, with the tour operators, with the taxi operators. And we have sort of laid out a initial plan as to the craft market. It will be located, in case you want to know, behind the new market downtown. That is opposite. If everybody could kind of follow me, go down. You're driving downtown. There's a new market, and behind there's another building. It will have 2 entrances to it, and there is in place a plan to develop the entire area. What's good about it? The 2 entrances. So this craft market does not have to be open just through the tourist season. We are working with our, even during the tourist season, with our tour operators to have some of the tours actually end at the craft market. We will be putting up a nice little bar outside so people could sit in the courtyard, and there will be, and have a couple of beers, and of course there will be entertainment at the craft market. And of course, for our local Vincentians, you park in Solidarity Car Park, you enter the craft market, and I really hope that it will be your last stop when you are leaving. We will also be undertaking, and this is my final point, I promise you, because I know there are others to speak and you want to ask questions. We will be undertaking a rebranding exercise within the Tourism Authority, and this will start from January and be concluded in June of 2025 to be implemented in 2026. We will bring together a number of creatives and historians because we want to tell our story. We want to talk about our colors. We want to talk about our food. We want to talk about our culture, and we want to make sure we distinguish ourselves further within our competitive space. We have a wonderfully unique product, and I believe it's the only product this side of the hemisphere where it is diverse. And I mean, I don't have to tell you again, but I will. You see it, mainland St. Vincent, rivers, waterfalls, trails, hiking trails, the La Soufrière on mainland St. Vincent, the color green, the color of black, our black sand beaches, all of it on mainland St. Vincent. And on the opposite side, we have the beautiful Grenadines with our white sand beaches, our coral sand, some of the most beautiful beaches in the well, this side, I would say, or in the world. For example, Salt Whistle Bay. All goes to make up our diverse product. And we will be writing that script, and as a result, we will be rebranding to raise our visibility within the market. So, without going on too much more, and I am hoping that there's nothing that the minister said that I would expound on, Minister. There's nothing else that I am to expound on. Exciting times are ahead. We are looking at our figures, our arrivals for the last quarter of the year. We are still putting together those figures, and we are encouraged. We are encouraged. And our target within house that we have set for next year as Stayover visitors, I do believe we may even reach that this year. And I will not say exactly what it is right now, but we believe we can touch that figure this year. And I thank you for being here with us today and for always supporting the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Authority. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are resilient, dynamic, and full of cultural pride. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is definitely open for business. You'd have just heard remarks from our minister as well as from the CEO of Tourism Authority. As promised, we will be shifting gears slightly to now incorporate the Independence Committee, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Independence Committee, where they will bring you remarks on initiatives that you can expect to see come to life for our 45th independence, starting from October 1st and throughout the entire month. Following which, Ms. Avia Charles of the Beauty Shows Committee would then come and deliver remarks on this year's 2024 Miss SVG pageant. Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Carissa. Honorable Minister of Tourism, Sustainable Development, Civil Aviation and Culture, Honorable Carlos James, CEO of the SVG Tourism Authority, Ms. Annette Mark, Avia Charles, Chairperson of the Beauty Shows Committee, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm here not to speak about Vincimas, as you're accustomed to see me on various platforms on Vincimas. Today I'm here as a member of the Independence Committee to bring you give you a brief update on what's happening relative to the plans for Independence Celebrations 2024. Before I go into the details of the plans, I'd just like to reflect a bit on what transpired last year. You know, of course, with the preparation for independence this year, we wanted, this year being the 45th anniversary, we wanted to mentally prepare persons for what was to come this year. So we had the theme, basically a tagline, Road to 45. During our activities of 2023, we had a number of events that made you think about this year, 2024, being the 45th anniversary. So we are here now in the 45th anniversary, and we recognize that initially independence celebration at one point used to be a one-day celebration, then we moved into it being a one-week celebration, and now we're at the stage where we do a one-month celebration for the entire month of October. So I'm going to give you a brief of some of the activities, not all, some of the activities which will be held during the month of October. First of all, this year's celebration is being held under the theme, Togetherness, Prosperity, and Perseverance. On Tuesday the 1st, we'll have a flag raising ceremony at the cruise ship terminal on the lawn. And then on Saturday the 5th, we have Miss SVG pageant. Of course, Avia will be here to share some much details on that activity. On Sunday the 6th, there'll be a craft market at the Paradise Beach Hotel. On Wednesday the 9th, a big welcome event, of course, for the commencement of JetBlue flights to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On Thursday the 10th, there will be a Vinci Heat soccer match at the Annisvale playing field. Thursday the 10th, on Thursday the 10th also, they'll have the commencement of a series of activities called Jam 45. This is an activity being organized by the Independence Committee, and the first will be held at the cruise ship terminal. This is basically an event where practitioners, cultural artists and so forth will be showcasing their talent. It's basically live entertainment, and it would be a free event. On Friday the 11th, you have Pink Cap Walk and Rally. This is usually an annual affair. It's on the program again this year, as they focus on the medical fraternity will focus on cancer awareness. On Sunday the 13th, another Vinci soccer match at Annisvale playing field. And then on Wednesday the 16th, we have Yulo Movement will be hosting Pan Feud. Okay? This will be an interactive session where members of the various steel pan organizations will be answering questions on the history of steel pan and the steel pan movement. They will be winning prizes accordingly, and this will be streaming on various social media platforms. On Wednesday the 16th, the Ministry of Sports, they are also doing some activities in the month of October, and they will have an event in South Rivers, and this would include various sports like soccer, cricket, etc. And on Thursday, the 17th, another Jam 45 activity will take place in Byra, similar to the one I just mentioned at the cruise ship terminal in Kingston. On Monday the 21st, we have the judging of the Best Village competition. Forms are available online and also at the Department of Culture and at the CDC office. The deadline for submission is the 6th of October. On Wednesday the 23rd, the Ministry of Sports again will be having another sporting activity in Layu. This would include football, netball, and volleyball. Wednesday the 23rd, the commencement of the ComSports Masters T20 soccer tournament. This tournament usually attracts some regional teams from St. Lucia, Barbados, and so forth. The forms are available now for registration for that tournament. I spoke to Michael John yesterday, and when he has the final submissions, he will announce the teams which will be participating and where they're coming from. And on Thursday, 24th, another Jam 45 event. The venue will be announced in due course. And then on Saturday, 26th, you have the Ministry of Sports Glory Run and Walk from Kingston to the tarmac and back to Kingston. Sunday, 27th, the main event, of course, being the Independence Parade at Victoria Park. And the police have promised an entertaining parade. And they are basically preparing right now to do so with a number of rehearsals and so forth, so that you will have something very entertaining on the day of October 27th at the Victoria Park. Of course, as usual, the Madongo Festival will be held this year at Rabaka on Sunday the 27th. And then on Monday the 28th, the finals of the ComSport T20 Masters Tournament that I mentioned earlier, the finals will be held on Monday 28th, that day being a public holiday. Yes, on the 28th, the North Leeward sporting activity, a number of sporting activities will be taking place in the North Leeward community as well. These are by no means all the activities, like I mentioned, just to mention some of them. Of course, there'll be a number of parties, fete shows, and so forth. We know last year, for example, we had Overdose in the month of October. This year, it will be held on the 2nd of November, but, events of those types will be held in the month of October. Of course, the bikers will be here, and they have a number of motorsport activities and so forth. The Independence Committee will be putting out an entire calendar of events. These that I mentioned and others, all the activities will be listed. Let me use the opportunity to reach out to organizers of events, persons who are involved in various groups doing activities in the month of October, to contact us, inform us, give us the information so we can have your activities listed on the Independence calendar, any activity in the month of October. You can contact me on 784-531-6969, or you can call the CDC office at 457-2580 and share the information so it can be listed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And we will immediately go straight over to Avia Charles, who will bring you remarks about the highly anticipated Miss SVG pageant.
Thank you, Carissa. Good morning. Minister of Tourism, Honorable Carlos James, CEO of the SVG Tourism Authority, Annette Mack, representative for the Independence Committee, Esworth Roberts, members of the media, everyone, good morning. We are a week and a few days away from the highly anticipated Miss SVG 2024, which will be held under the theme this year, A Royal Dream. And very importantly, Miss SVG will be held at Victoria Park. And I have to say that because a few persons have been asking if it will be at La View. And I'm assuming that misconception or misunderstanding is because this year La View is our title sponsor, and it is called the La View Boutique Hotel Miss SVG Pageant, but it will be held at Victoria Park. We are currently making the final preparations in terms of finalizing training with our contestants and getting our production set up and team in full swing. Tickets are currently $70, and that is our Tier 1 ticket. After those tickets are done, we move on to Tier 2, which is $80, and Tier 3, $100. The difference between the tiers is just basically availability. So a few persons have also been asking, what am I getting for my Tier 1 ticket or my Tier 2 ticket? It's just availability. Once Tier 1 tickets are done, that's it. We move on to $80 and then $100 for Tier 3 tickets. And we have limited tickets available in Tier 1 now. There is also the VIP package, which is available at $200. And importantly, our VIP tickets are only available at 4 of our outlets, which is the Entice Bar in Victoria Park, VJ's Restaurant, Korea City Store, and Four Shells. You can also get your Tier 1, 2, and 3 tickets at those outlets as well. And additionally, the balance of the Tier 2 and 3 tickets can be purchased at the Lotta booth at Peace Mall, Johnny's Barbershop in Georgetown, and Video Extreme in Kittels. We are currently preparing also for the arrival of our host this year, which absolutely would not have been possible without the support of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority. So I wish to take this moment to say thank you to Ms. Mark and our Honorable Minister for making this initiative possible. Many persons have been asking what exactly will be the benefits of having Ms. Ellis as a host of the pageant. It is not only beneficial for the pageant, but she has also expressed her commitment with working with the Tourism Authority to promoting St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a premier Caribbean choice or destination for visitors. So she's very committed to building our tourism brand, and whilst she is here, she will be engaged in a series of tourism-based activities, visiting certain places in St. Vincent. I know Mustique is one on the schedule of activities. She will also be going to various hotels and sites and doing a few photo shoots as well. So you can definitely look forward to having Miss Ellis, or Kadeen as we know her as, promoting St. Vincent and the Grenadines on her social media platforms. I must also add that this year, our guest artist promises a spectacular performance, and that is to say that Mr. Hans John, the 2024 Raga Soca Monarch, will be the featured artist at Miss SVG 2024. As it relates to the performance from the contestants, we hope to start the show exactly at 8 p.m. And I promise you that our fanfare, which is the introduction segment, is one that you do not want to miss. So it is going to be strictly entertainment, elegance, poise, and talent on October 5th at Victoria Park. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everyone, especially those of you who are listening and viewing remotely from your locations. We would like to use this opportunity to welcome any questions from the media. I already see a hand going up, so there is a microphone on the table. What I would ask is that you would use it to communicate. Mr. Chance, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Channel Munro from the National Broadcasting Corporation. This question is for the minister. I have quite a few, so yeah. My first question, what percentage of revenue is estimated to be lost for the tourism industry due to the passage of Hurricane Beryl? What percentage of revenue is estimated, or are you guessing would be lost because of the passage of Hurricane Beryl to the tourism industry?
Sorry, yes. As a number which we're looking at, I can't give you a precise figure as to our total economic loss as it relates to that. What we have seen, though, is as I indicated, the niches in which we market and we promote the destination, we have held to date. We don't know what from the numbers from August to September is going to look like, but from what I'm seeing, our numbers are actually holding, both in cruise for advanced bookings. Stayover has pretty much been consistently on the increase, and there's an uptick. Our yachting, which is of concern and which I think the question is more related to, we have seen some cancellations, as I said, from some of the charter companies out of Martinique. That doesn't mean that it is going to have a significant impact. If we can get into the market and plug in terms of our drive and initiatives to indicate that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is open for business, we're able to pretty much curtail what we will call an economic hemorrhage as it relates to yachting. But yachting has traditionally been a niche sector which is resilient. Even in COVID, the only sector that really held during the pandemic was our yachting sector. So I pretty much, though despite Hurricane Beryl, I think our numbers will hold in terms of the yachting, though we have started seeing a dip somewhat even prior to that.
Also, there was an announcement last year about a cultural festival similar to the one had hosted for CARICOM. Are there any updates that we can get on that festival, dates, when it's expected to happen, who are we expected to see?
We were hoping to have it this October month coming. In fact, it is something which we had already planned and looked at. But when we looked at what took place with Hurricane Beryl and a lot of the recovery efforts which we ourselves put in from the ministry standpoint, we had to recalculate on how we can look at that. But definitely in the new year, we're definitely going to be moving on filling and the plugs on some of these non-traditional months where we'll have limited tourism activity. For instance, in the month of May, the month of October, we're definitely going to be filling these holes to ensure that our numbers are consistent across the board. And I think that in itself is an indication of how we are going to be able to grow our existing market. If we're able to, outside of the tourism season, we can capitalize on a number of meetings, incentives and conferences and events. And that is primarily which the CEO of the Tourism Authority spoke about in relation to how we advance our tourism program.
Okay, well, Mr. Roberts, I know you said you're here in your capacity with the Independence Committee, but I'm gonna put you back into CDC. What are the plans to rebound for Vincimas from 2024? Because we had to scale it down because of Beryl, obviously, but this year was geared to be one of the biggest and best Vincimas we've had. So what plans are in place? Because I would like to believe that planning has already begun to put Vincimas in the position that it would have been for this year.
Well, yes, of course, planning for Vincimas 2025 has commenced. There are some changes, as was mentioned by the Minister, changes within the Carnival Development Corporation in terms of staff. The CEO is retiring. We'll be having some positions being filled, staff, apart from the CEO, other staff members. But the board in itself has been making plans to ensure that Vincimas 2025 will be much bigger and better than 2024. Although, despite the passage of Hurricane Beryl, we were able to execute a very successful carnival despite the challenges, and the activities and events were well attended, and by and large we ended up with an excellent carnival despite the passage of Beryl. Nevertheless, we are endeavoring to have a much better carnival come 2025, details of which would be forthcoming pretty soon.
Okay, so I just got a question. What about the upgrades and maintenance of sites like the boardwalk at Villa Beach ahead of the tourism season? Because we are aware that some of the sites in the Grenadines would not be ready for the beginning of the tourism season. So we would obviously have to put a lot of focus and attention on what we have on mainland in upgrading and maintaining. What is being done and what are the plans for the maintenance and upgrade of those?
Very important question. In fact, we've started and during the supplementary estimates, we facilitated having 1.5 million injected in the tourism sector for our recovery in relation to sites. And this is specifically to sites, not in relation to hotels and stakeholders, but specifically as it relates to sites. What we will see this year are some additional sites being added, particularly in the northwestern side of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's a Richmond Eco Park, which we're hoping to build out before the end of the year. We're going to see additional resources being pumped into places like Darkview Fall, for instance. A massage station is going to be installed, vending stalls, new signage, just to ensure that the sites are at a particular standard. Visitors, the reports and reviews that we have very good sites. Is one of the most diverse Caribbean destinations, and we have to just build out and improve on that. And though within the short period of time we have from now until the opening of the season, I know national parks are rapidly advancing the work. Some of the work will be continuous, we'll go over into next year, but definitely we've started looking at new sites that we can build out, including the Petroglyph Park at Argyle, which we have to also do some work on. As it relates to the Villa Boardwalk, the phase 2 of that project, it was for the compromise during Beryl. And I know we have looked at having that project completed, and we're going to start some work on that within a matter of weeks to ensure that we are ready to accommodate persons who are accessing Villa Beach during the season as well. But we're doing it for our locals as well to ensure that the sites are accessible and there's that level of comfort for persons going to some of these sites.
Okay, and I promise this is my last question. With
Something to what the minister just said in respect to our sites and our beaches. I forgot that we are Friday the 27th is World Tourism Day, and there will be a beach cleanup with the community, Sandals, St. Vincent, and our stakeholders. We are inviting everyone to be part of this beach cleanup. It starts from 7 and it will be finished by 11. We do look forward to seeing the media there also. Bocaman Bay Beach, in case I did not say that, okay? But it's at the Bocaman Bay Beach.
Okay, final 2 questions. The port in Kingstown is expected to be completed in May, and we are expected with that addition and enhancement of port systems in St. Vincent, big and better cruise docking site. I don't know the technical term for it. A new cruise ship berth, right? What numbers would we be expecting next year for cruise tourism? Because we've seen a steady increase over the past 3 years, as the minister has said. And my final question, the hotel structure that was or is still Black Sands. I remember you said early in the year that there was a timeline on when they had to finish that hotel. Has that timeline been met? What's going to happen now with that development, now that it's almost 6, 7, 8 years since it started and we've seen no completion in sight? What's happening there?
Right, so as it relates to the cruise season, 2024-2025, I indicated we're having about 378 calls. I'm hoping that all of the calls hold, and more may very well be added. I'm hoping that we remain consistent with those calls, and we've seen an uptick there. What is taking place with the larger ships? They're building larger vessels, naturally. And these larger vessels are not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to accommodate them here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the space that we have. And that is why one of the reasons why I'm very eager to see we commence work on the expansion of our cruise terminal in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Also, the new technology that has been added. There are larger ships now that are operated with varying types of fuel, which we should be in a better position to accommodate them once we are able to expand the facility. But just to indicate, we're going to see less ships for the time being coming to the Southern Caribbean. And one of the reasons for that has nothing to do with St. Vincent and the Grenadines or Grenada or St. Lucia or Barbados not marketing their products enough. What is happening is that even the International Maritime Organization, they themselves are putting a lot of pressure on the cruise ships to say, look, listen, you have to move away from the type of fuel that you're using. So you're looking at a lot of longer haul cruise from port. If you're home porting in Puerto Rico to get to Barbados and then to St. Vincent and Dominica, you're going to see less of that. So a lot less larger ships are going to come over a shorter period now, but will return when they've refleeted with more, what I would say, ships that are able to have a bit more efficient levels of fuel in terms of the fuel type that they're using. What I note is that if ships are able to home port more frequent in the southern Caribbean, we'll get a lot more larger ships to the destination, because they're able to make a few more trips around the southern Caribbean if they're home porting, let's say in Barbados. It's an advantage for us if they're home porting close to us, that we can have a lot more calls from larger vessels. But over the next few years, that whole space is going to change in terms of the direction in which the cruise lines are working, and in terms of setting their call schedules. We are now a platinum member of the FCCA, so of course we have an obligation to work closer with the FCCA to ensure that small island states like St. Vincent and the Grenadines in Southern Caribbean is not left out, because there's going to be a gap there, and we have to see how we can fill that void in time for when they've commissioned the larger vessels that are refleeting with more economically fuel in terms of longer voyages and so on. So that is one of the things that we have to look at. And we have to look at the possibility and the potential of even having renewable energy at our port when it's expanded to facilitate the type of vessels that are likely to come. Yeah. And in relation to Black Sands, I was in touch with the investors for that facility, and as we speak, they're wrapping up the finishing touches to the villas. They're now putting in the larger glass frames. A lot of the fixtures are on the ground. They're already in country. I inquired about furnishing, and one of the reasons why they haven't procured furnishing as yet is that in terms of the partnership they're looking to negotiate to brand the hotel, they will take on whatever style is recommended from the brand partner. So that is perhaps the last stage of that development in terms of the villas. And they are looking very much at breaking ground on a smaller hotel, which will be at the bottom of those villas sometime in the not too distant future. But I'm not going to give you their dates because that's out of my control. But I know they're hoping by Q1 or Q2 of next year to see if they can wrap up the villas and have them ready and open to the public.
Good morning. Kenton, Chancellor for Witnesses in the Caribbean Media Corporation. Minister James, after Hurricane Beryl, there was the removal of the implements from Salt Whistle Bay that people use for vending. Do you know what is the situation there now, and what arrangements are in place for vending during the cruise tourism season?
All right, thank you very much for that question, Kenton. During Hurricane Beryl, several things took place on Salt Whistle Bay. One of the major and critical things we did as a government was to step in and to save Salt Whistle Bay. We pumped in a significant amount of resources, a lot of heavy equipment to really save the bay from disappearing. And we were happy to get that work done and completed in record time. What I was made aware of during one of my visits to Mayro is that there was some structural damage to some of the informal settlements in terms of tourism operators on the bay itself. We intend to work closely with the Tobago Keys Marine Park as well as National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority to see how we can facilitate and support some of these vendors who normally ply a trade on Salt Whistle Bay. They traditionally had, I believe, their businesses or the buildings on private property. And of course that has to come into the mix in terms of dialogue and see how we can build back better and more resilient, and to see how we can work in facilitating the people of Mayro. Historically and traditionally, Mayro is a community where a lot of the people there are dependent on tourism. We intend to give a lot of support to the people of Myro and particularly the vendors within the Tobago Keys Marine Park, as well as the vendors on Salt Whistle Bay. And that is one of the things that we're looking to work along with them.
So just to be clear, will the vendors be able to vend on Salt Whistle Bay this coming season?
We are hoping that we can facilitate them. And if it means that we will have to go in and assist with getting some of the structures up, even at the high water mark, which is one of the things which I've raised to see how we can facilitate them. That is something that we're hoping to get done.
All right, thank you. What is the status of Fort Charlotte, and is it likely to be open during the cruise tourism season?
Fort Charlotte is currently under a World Bank project. It's an OACS World Bank project, which the rehabilitative work is taking place. The nature of the work is it's not just basic construction and masonry. It's a lot of work in preserving the fort in which in its existing and traditional layout. And a lot of the work that is done there is really specialist work. I'm yet to get a report on the status of how we can accommodate visitors there this season, but I'm hoping that we can have some significant work done over the next few weeks, if at all it's possible to accommodate persons there. But bear in mind that the work that is being done there is one that is very complex and requires a level of specialist skill to have the work preserved and have the fort preserved in the way in which it was traditionally built.
About the airlines, is the government, meaning the central government or any of its agencies, providing any sort of market support for any of these new airlines or the existing airlines servicing St. Vincent and Grenadines?
We are hoping to provide market support. In fact, I'm hoping that in some of the local newspapers this week we'll have ads paid for by the Tourism Authority, inviting people to book on some of these scheduled airlines coming to the country. We intend to work closely and collaboratively with some of these airlines to ensure we can ramp up visitors to the destination.
Will the government be paying for empty seats?
The arrangement doesn't require paying for empty seats. It's market support in terms of collaboratively working with them to facilitate their entry into the destination. It's called market support.
The final question I have, do you have any updates on Royal Mill?
Royal Mill is currently, they're completing some of the villas that are there. In fact, I also got word from the investors there as well, and they're wrapping up in fact, there's existing work ongoing to complete some of the villas which were started construction a few years ago. What I would say about some of these hotels, they came in with numbers pre-COVID. And when you look at what took place post-COVID and post-Russia-Ukraine, where inflation set in, the cost of construction, even right now. I remember a couple of years ago when we were rebuilding homes for people and we were building plywood buildings because it was cheaper to do the plywood. If someone had a wooden structure, it was cheaper to replace the wood with ply as opposed to building a concrete house. Right now, it is cheaper to build a concrete house for someone than ply because of the high cost of shipping and getting the ply here and so on. So naturally, there's cost implication for a number of these investors who are building hotels. Some of them have scaled down, some of them they have sought alternative financing, and I'm hoping that they can all be on schedule to complete within the time frame I have to add to my 1,200 rooms to the destination. But the work is ongoing from all accounts, from what I gather. Work will be ongoing on the villas that are currently up.
Thank you. We have another question on the right.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm from the Professional Taxi Association. My question is, I say recovery of tourism recovery. And I mean, Mr. Charles asked a question that I had, but my question is about the road to Fort Charlotte. It's been some years now that we would have been doing. And some weeks ago, now I go to Edinburgh every Sunday. And some Sunday ago, I feel so good when I see all those tractor and everything there. And then when I look back, everything stopped. So I really want to find out, because as a taxi driver, when somebody hire your taxi to take them, sometimes you should only take it at least 10 minutes, sometimes you have to take at least about 20 minutes to 25 minutes to get up there, because the road is so bad. So I want to know when this road is going to finish, and also the other site in Montreal, because we go out there a lot and it's really things. So I would like to get answers.
Thank you very much for your question. And I also think they've started the work at Montreal Road as well, right? Ongoing there. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to when the roads are going to be completed, as it's not within the Ministry of Tourism. But I too am hoping that we can get some significant work done in time for the season. And I know that the Ministry of Transport and Works, they have been working closely with the contractors to push on them to have the roads completed. In fact, I know personally the Prime Minister and very often would have stepped in relation to that road to Edinburgh, as well as made several representations. And I also will be doing that to that cabinet just to confirm that we are on schedule to have these roads completed and within the time frame stipulated on the contract. But I do note the concern, and I too am expressing those concerns as well. Roads to all sites, as a matter of fact. Thanks.
I want to take it that there are no more questions. So on behalf of the Tourism Authority, we would like to thank you for joining today's press conference, where we took a deeper dive at the tourism recovery efforts, specifically around the statistics pertaining to airlines and connectivity, accommodation, as well as the plans by the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Independence Committee and the Beauty Shows Committee for October. We invite you to stay connected to your news outlets for all of our official updates, as well as our social media platforms, so that you too can continue to track progress. Thank you once again. Good morning.
JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape, JetBlue has you covered. Hurry! Seats are filling fast. Book now at JetBlue.com and be part of this exciting new chapter in travel from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. JetBlue is landing in St. Vincent on October 9th. Are you ready for your next adventure? Fly from Argyle International Airport to JFK in New York and enjoy super low introductory rates. It's the perfect getaway at the perfect price. Discover the comfort, style, and award-winning service that JetBlue is known for. Whether it's that long overdue family trip, a business journey, or a weekend escape.
Testing.
Yeah, good. All right, good morning, Minister James. Thank you for taking the time out. I know you have a very busy schedule, but we just have just a few extra questions. You talked about the importance of like flights coming in, and I know that there are some standards for taxi associations as well. Are there any plans to extend those standards to customer service and public transport?
Certainly, in fact, one of the initiatives which we also spoke about a few months ago was to facilitate night transportation. Currently, if anyone who's interested in operating a vehicle for public transport after hours, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is facilitating duty-free concession on brand new vehicles for night transport, night buses in particular. We believe that even within the tourism sector, there are a number of persons when they apply for jobs. The hotels are going to tell you, or the bars will tell you, well, I have applicants from Chateaubriand or Richland Park or Georgetown, but to get them home at 2 and 3 o'clock in the mornings is proven challenging. There are people who would want to go out to have a good time, they want to take in the nightlife, but logistically sometimes it's challenging to do that. And we want to see how we can expand the local economy in terms of driving a lot more traffic to restaurants, hotels, bars, into general entertainment spots, improving the nightlife in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's not the government that is responsible for that, but we can facilitate it. And we are willing to facilitate and allow persons to bring in vehicles at a concession where we can, once they're going to designate those vehicles for night transportation. There are a few operators who are interested. In fact, they have reached out to me in relation to this, and I'm happy to work along with anybody who may want to take advantage of this opportunity. But by and large, we have to get these things right, and it's about driving the local economy, stakeholder driven, and the government is facilitating, and I want people to be mindful that these services are available that you can tap into and benefit from.
Okay, what about the customer service?
We continue to do training. In fact, just before the start of this upcoming season, there's training for customer service personnel at the airport, customs, immigration, restaurants, hotels, and so on. There's a lot of work that the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Authority, the staff, they do behind the scenes. Maybe it's not out there often enough, but there's a lot of quality assurance work that is done. Even the very taxi operators who are involved in the trade, before they get their stamp of approval to say that they're tourism certified, they go through a series of training. They go through training, including CPR and medical emergency responses and so on, and hospitality training, customer service training. So they themselves can speak about the experience in relation to that. And I will tell you that we have some of the best, in a professional capacity, some of the best taxi operators in St. Vincent. Their politeness, their personality, their attitude, their knowledge about the country and the product, and all of that is part of the training. And in fact, some of them over the years have developed and established that. But by and large, it's a system of quality assurance, product development, checks and balances that we continuously put in place from the port of entry right to the very product and services that we offer.
So persons within the private sector can always reach out for assistance?
They certainly can, and that is one of the hallmarks of what the product development unit does in the Ministry of Tourism, the quality assurance unit does in the Tourism Authority.
Okay, so you spoke earlier about rebranding St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the marketing strategy. Can you say in a nutshell what will be brand St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Well, it's the most diverse Caribbean destination. There's no other islands in the Caribbean where you go to multiple islands and you get a different experience. You look at Bahamas or Turks and Caicos Island, there are multiple islands, but they're pretty much the same offering. You come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what you get on Union Island is different from what you get on Bequia. What you get on Bequia is different from what you get on mainland. The cake dance on Myra on Union Island is found nowhere on mainland. What the industry that is deeply developed in Bequia in terms of the whaling and other things that they're associated with is not found on mainland primarily. And the nature, the terrain that is on the mainland, black sand beaches, volcanic base, lots of waterfalls, is not found in Bequia or Mustique. And it shows you the diversity of our product offering, and we really have to develop the niche and put them out there. It's not, I would not say we have a particular niche or selling point. It is a multi-destination that has a varying product offering that can suit any traveler. And we want to promote St. Vincent and the Grenadines as such. But I want to also caution that we're not going into mass tourism. I don't want to boast of having 1 million visitors. What I want to boast about is having just the right amount of visitors that has the spending power, that has the trickle-down effect, and putting monies right on foreign direct investment and the cash value from foreign earnings directly in the hands of farmers, fisher folk, taxi operators, bar staff, hotel operators, and so on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that is what we've primarily been doing. And when we speak of a 30% increase in our tourism numbers, this is really a great feat for a small developing state that is just an emerging tourism destination with an international airport. Just in 2017 we opened it, and with hotels or room stock is still building out. So we're not even where envisioned we are going to be, and the potential of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are really moving in that direction, and under our leadership here in tourism, well experienced staff, from the director of tourism right down to the tourism planner, the quality development officers, and so on in the ministry and the tourism authority. We have improved on the staff and hired a lot more persons who are coming with a varying background and experience, both in private and public life, who are going to add value to what we do at the tourism authority. So there's a tremendous amount of resources that we're going to put into marketing our destination and ensure that we have the best product offering for any visitor to the Caribbean.
Okay, I have 2 more questions. The first of which is converting cruise tourists to overnight tourists. It seems from the past conversation, seems to be quite difficult. How do you monitor who converts?
There's a systematic way of doing it, and we've started, in fact, hitting the target on that. And that's one of the things which we're now seeing. The growth what we're experiencing now in Stayovers is attributed to that as well, and partly because we have more flights coming. People don't want to do layover flights. They want to have direct access to where they're going. And it's important when we go to Charlotte with American Airlines, or we go to JFK, or we move to Miami daily. They want to have that accessibility. Interestingly, I'm in Toronto, and I go to Ottawa, and the people in Ottawa are saying, well, when are we getting direct flights? I said, but you can go down to Toronto and get a flight there. Or the people in another province are saying, when are we getting direct flights? We may not be able to service every province with a direct flight, but even those people are telling you they'd rather have a direct flight from their province to the destination. But the cost implication of transiting through Toronto is just about $25 more Canadian on the ticket. But they're telling you the ease and comfort in moving, they would rather have that than to lay over. So we've had more flights on board. We've ramped up our schedule to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We've just as I said, from next month into November, we'll add 4 new airlines to the destination, 3 regional, 1 international, and it all goes well for our development as a tourism product.
Okay. Final question. You spoke about mass tourism. We know that sometimes there are some concerns about sometimes too many and finding that right balance.
Yes.
What are the plans in place with the ministry, from the ministry's perspective, to prevent possible negative impacts of
And it's really building out a sustainable tourism product and really focusing heavily on a lot of environmental conservation. And what we've been doing The Ministry of Sustainable Development is now within the Ministry of Tourism, and we're able to look at how we can create that balance and build out our tourism product in a sustainable way. And we're talking about our practices and what we do in farm to table, for instance, reducing our food import bill, ensuring that there are linkages to our local economy, ensuring that we provide all of the support to many of the operators and stakeholders through concessions, and creating that linkage, but also preserving our environment. If you notice, some of the sites that you go to, they're not overly commercialized. While I would like to see a lot more put into the sites, there's this big emphasis on conservation and ensuring that sites remain green, ensuring that we don't have a mass bill-out of attractions, but what we have is a steady bill-out that has a particular capacity. And it's exactly what we're doing with our tourism products. All of our beaches can't hold 1 million visitors rotationally coming into the country. Look at the cruise lines. I mean, we're getting more cruise calls, but if you go to any of the beaches on a day when a cruise ship is in, you can't properly access them. And that's one of the things that we have to look at. Look at what they're using the suntan lotion. Look at the effect and the impact of that on the marine life. All of these things we have has significant implication on our well-being, our ecosystem, our environment in which we survive, and we have to start that education with our locals, but also with visitors to our country to say, look, we welcome you, but we don't encourage that you litter. We don't encourage that you use certain products. We don't encourage that you use extensively plastics, for instance. And then we're moving towards renewables. We're moving towards single-use plastics, and all of these things. And hopefully, Olivia Art bags, which can be sold for persons coming at the cruise ship.
Thanks for the plug.
These are the things that we're pushing, and we're hoping that when Annette spoke to the having that market, the craft market, and it's all about sustainable livelihood, sustainable build out, and ensuring that we preserve and protect our environment at the same time. So we're not in, and I told them at CTO this during our destination briefing, we're not in the business of mass tourism. I don't intend for us to go in that direction, but it's just finding that right balance of having the right amount of people who are going to come and spend money, and that money is going to translate into economic growth, tourism expenditure, and hopefully we can move beyond 500 million toward in tourism expenditure in the economy, and that is really what tourism does. You don't see it for what it is and what it does, but the impact is there, and you can speak to the taxi operators and the stakeholders who benefit tremendously during the season. And if we make this all year round, it's going to augur well for the development of our persons who are involved in as from a stakeholder level in terms of balancing sustainable livelihoods against economic advancement and our build out.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
All right.
Take care. And there you have it. I want to say thank you for joining us on our live at VC3. And of course, join us again once more. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms. Thank you.